In today's video, we're going to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of buying life insurance here in Canada. So if you're weighing the pros and cons about getting life insurance, then this video is right for you. And also make sure you stick around to the very end because I'm going to give you my top 5 tips about how to purchase life insurance the best way here in Canada. So make sure you stick around to the very end of the video and learn what those are. What's up, guys? For those of you who do not know me, my name is Philip Sutter. I'm the founder and CEO of Affinity Life, which is an online life insurance brokerage here in Canada where you can actually view quotes 100% online and apply 100% online as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, I will put the link in the description below. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, let's just start with the basics of life insurance here in Canada. So all life insurance is a contract between a policyholder and an insurance company. And there's usually a insured as well. And that is usually the policyholder. And unfortunately, if that individual did pass away, well, then what would happen is the life insurance company would pay a face amount out to their beneficiary or beneficiaries. So, I mean, you can have multiple beneficiaries. You can also list a charity as a beneficiary. You could list a corporation as a beneficiary. So there's different ways you can structure it, but that's really what it is. At the end of the day, there's an insured, there's the insurance company. If they were to pass away, well, then the proceeds would be paid out to whoever the beneficiary is. Now, there is 2 different types of life insurance. So there's term life insurance and there's permanent life insurance. Term life insurance is the most affordable option. It's the least expensive. It's meant to cover you for a specific period of time. So, you know, when your family needs it the most, when maybe your kids are growing up, they're still in the house, they're, you know, going to school, you have outstanding debt, you know, your partner's maybe staying at home with the kids or they're out working as well. I mean, you have car payments, you have things that you need to take care of. And if you were to pass away, well, your family would be very financially impacted. It's used to cover you for that specific period of time. And when you get older, maybe you're 55, maybe you're 60. Well, at that point, the kids maybe are out of the house. You don't need that much life insurance anymore. Maybe you've paid off a lot of your debt at that point. Your house is paid off or paid down. All your high interest credit card debt is then paid off. And you're starting to accumulate a lot more investments. And maybe the need for life insurance isn't as prevalent at that point. Maybe you can cancel it. Permanent life insurance, on the other hand, is meant to cover you until death. So it's really good if it's used for maybe planning something for the next generation. Maybe you want to leave an inheritance to your children. Maybe you want to leave an inheritance to your grandchildren. Maybe you want to leave something behind for charity. That's a really good reason. Another reason for permanent life insurance is, of course, estate planning. So maybe you have a second home and there's going to be taxes on that second home and you really want to pass that down to the next generation, maybe your kids again. Well, you know you're going to need a certain amount of income or funds, at death. Life insurance is a really good way to cover that off. So if you're in, again, maybe your 50s or 60s or 70s, and you're looking towards estate planning at this point, maybe permanent life insurance is a good option if you know you need liquidity upon death. But with all that being said, let's get into the advantages and disadvantages of life insurance. So let's start with the advantages of life insurance. So, I mean, number one, the most blaringly obvious advantage of life insurance is you're protecting your loved ones. I mean, that's really the purpose of life insurance. If something were to happen to you, would your family, would your loved ones be financially impacted? If the answer is yes, then you probably need life insurance. It's not meant to enrich them. It's not meant to set them up for life so they never have to work again. It's meant to help them in their time of grieving. One more overwhelming stress, just remove it out of their life. Let them grieve, let them get back on their feet, help them pay a lot of their bills for the next, 2, 5, 3, 10 years. Help them afford those bills that, the family is already taken care of and now your income is gone. And that's really what it's meant to do, is just replace your income. That's number one advantage of life insurance, is just protecting your loved ones within your life. Number 2 advantage of life insurance is it's incredibly cheap and it fits your budget. Now, this is specifically with term life insurance. Like I mentioned, term life insurance is the most inexpensive option. And when you're starting to look at life insurance, maybe you'll get overwhelmed with the amount of companies that are out there and the amount of products that are out there. And you start to compare them and you think, well, what should I do? Should I buy the permanent one? Should I buy the term one? In my opinion, if you're looking to protect your family and leave something behind, if something were to happen to you and they would be financially at risk, term life insurance is incredibly inexpensive. Don't get overcomplicated. Don't put a bunch of unnecessary riders on there. Don't look at permanent life insurance. You can get incredibly inexpensive life insurance to cover you for that specific period of time with term life insurance, and that's a great advantage. The third advantage of life insurance is that it gives you peace of mind. So at the end of the day, we all assume that nothing bad will ever happen to us. We always assume, we read things in the newspaper, we hear about stories about other people passing away, and we assume that nothing is ever never going to happen to us. And the reason that it happened to them is for whatever reason. Maybe we're smarter, we're more calculated, we're more focused, we don't do as many risky things. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, accidents can and do happen, regardless of whether you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, or you're 50. Things can happen in life. And, we look at other situations, we say, well, that'll never happen to me. I could never have a heart attack at age 30, or I could never get diagnosed with cancer at age 35 or age 40, or I could never get into a car accident because I'm focused. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, we look at other individuals and what happens to them and we write them off. And that's wrong, because at the end of the day, the same thing can happen to you at any point in time. And really, that's what life insurance delivers, is that peace of mind, knowing that if something were to happen to you, God forbid, your family would be protected. And I think that's incredibly important and a very big advantage of life insurance. Number 4 advantage of life insurance, it's super easy to apply. Now, this wasn't always the case. Life insurance used to be a very difficult thing to try and obtain. I mean, take 20, 30 years ago, you had to maybe look in the newspaper, maybe look online, try and find somebody. They would come to your house. It'd be a long paper application. It could take weeks to get approved. It could take, hours and hours and hours to finally get through the application. The sales agent could try and tack on a bunch of costly add-ons. They could try and get other things, other products that they might want to sell you, and you're involved in this high pressure sales environment. So it wasn't always the case that it was easy to apply, but especially now more than ever, it's incredibly easy to apply for life insurance. And I mean, again, this is a pitch for my company, Affinity Life. It's incredibly easy to view quotes right away, see what it's going to cost, and apply 100% online without having to meet with anyone face to face. It takes maybe 20 minutes or less to apply. You can do it all digitally, verify your identity online, and go on your way knowing that you're protected. So it is incredibly easy to apply. If you need life insurance, there's no reason why you shouldn't have it at this day and age. But it's not all roses and kittens, I guess. Kittens would be a good thing, maybe. There are some disadvantages to life insurance, and we're going to get into them. So number 1 disadvantage for life insurance, if you're unhealthy or if you're a little bit older, it can be incredibly expensive, regardless of whether you have term or permanent. It can be an incredibly expensive product to try and get into if you have some adverse health conditions, or if you're just getting a little bit older. And I mean, that's a disadvantage, of course. A few ways that you can get around this, of course, is maybe buying it a little bit younger. If you have a need for life insurance, absolutely get it when you're younger, but I would not recommend buying life insurance when you do not need it just to try and lock in a rate. I would still buy it when you need it, but however, when you need it, I would buy it right away. And if you did have some adverse health conditions, there are some options that are available to you. There's products known as simplified issue products, which might be really good for you and might be inexpensive. But again, that's by a case-by-case basis, and it could be expensive depending on your scenario. Number 2 disadvantage, permanent life insurance is expensive no matter what age you are. Whether you're 20 or you're 30 or you're 40 or you're 50, permanent life insurance is anywhere from 5 to 20 times more expensive than term life insurance. So you might pay $50 for $1 million of term life insurance, and you might pay $500 for the exact same, or $1,000 for the exact same face amount in a permanent life insurance policy. And so if you're really just buying life insurance, again, to cover you for that specific period of time, that's a huge disadvantage. Number 3, cash value is a very weak investment, quote unquote, for the vast majority of Canadians. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in this video on tips about how you can buy life insurance in Canada and not get ripped off. So I'll talk about it a little bit more later. However, permanent life insurance, using it as an investment and using the cash value within it, is a very weak investment for the majority of Canadians. And number 4, the biggest disadvantage of life insurance here in Canada is it's very easy to be misled if you're not educated. And I would say this is probably the biggest disadvantage. Life insurance is unfortunately one of the easiest industries to get into. I mean, it is regulated, so that is true, but to get your insurance license, it's very easy. I mean, anyone can go and write the exam. It's not that hard of an exam. And so we have a lot of agents that come into the industry, and they're in the industry for maybe a year or two. They don't fully understand all the products. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're salesmen. All right. Insurance agents are salesmen. At the end of the day, they need to make sales. They need to make money. I get this. Unfortunately, a lot of advisors in Canada will cut corners and sell shoddy products to their customers to make a commission. And they might not be doing it intentionally. A lot of this can come down from the company, and the company is teaching them one thing that's just blatantly wrong, and they're just following the company's guidance. And so, I mean, it's not the advisor's fault in all cases. However, it can be incredibly easy for, as consumers, just to be misled or waste money on products or buy products that are a little bit misleading and not exactly what you're looking for. And so, I mean, some of the key things that I would look for in an insurance policy to make sure that, you are making an educated decision. A few key things is you want to make sure in a term product that you're buying a term product that is renewable and convertible. That means that you could renew it regardless of your health at the end of the term, and you could convert it into a permanent life insurance policy in the future if your health did decline. Those are really good features that not all insurance companies in Canada have. And I mean, there's several of them, or I should say one large one, which tries to compare their product to other products. And it's very disingenuous because it's not convertible, not renewable. And I think that's a very important feature for Canadians. Other things you need to be educated about is, what are the conditions on which they can deny your claim? Is it mortgage insurance or is it life insurance they're talking about? Because mortgage insurance and life insurance are two completely different products. They don't operate the same way at all. They're not the same contract, and you want to make sure which one you have or which one you're applying for. You go to the bank, you get your mortgage, they offer you insurance. That's not life insurance. You also want to make sure that you're getting the best rates and you're shopping around. And if you are looking at a policy as some type of investment, you want to know exactly how that works and make sure you have all the answers. So I would say the biggest disadvantage to life insurance is there's just so many ways that you can be misled as a consumer and maybe buy a product that's just not best for you. Okay, so let's talk about some tips of actually getting life insurance so you know that you're making the right decision and you know you're headed in the right path. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said there was 5 tips, but actually I'm looking on my sheet and there's only 4, so I apologize, but let's get into it. Number 1 tip, work with an insurance broker. So most of the insurance sold in Canada is sold through a broker model. 90% of the companies in Canada sell through a broker channel, and a broker has access to all these different companies so they can source the best product for you. The other 10% of the companies operate through what's known as a captive model, or they work direct to consumer model. So what this means is that when you shop with this individual or this broker or this company, you are then only shopping that one company's product, and it might be a good fit for you, it might not be a good fit for you. And in most cases, it's always preferential 99% of the time to work with a broker and look at all the companies and figure out which one is best for you. Because again, some companies work really well with certain rate bands, other companies work well with other rate bands. So maybe this is the best price for a 25-year-old, but maybe for a 35-year-old, it's a terrible price. So you want to make sure you search all the companies to make sure you're getting the right product that you want at the best rates. Number 2, tips on getting life insurance. Do not lie on your application. This is kind of straightforward. However, I can't believe how many people come in and ask me like, oh, okay, there's this question on the application. It asks if I did this and I did do this. What should I do? You should not lie on your application. That's one of the most important things with tips on getting life insurance. There's only 2 reasons that an insurance company can deny a claim. 1 is suicide within the first 2 years, and 2 is intentional fraud on the application, which is lying on the application. So don't lie on the application. You'll never run into any problems. The insurance claim will always be paid out. Number 3, tips on getting life insurance here in Canada. Ask for a sample policy, okay? If you're looking at one company or another company, before you sign on the dotted line, ask for a contract. Read over the contract. Make sure that everything I'm saying in this video is included in that contract. Is it renewable? Is it convertible? Does it have any other exclusions? Is it mortgage insurance or is it life insurance? Read the fine lines of the contract to make sure you know exactly what you're getting into and you're not just blindly signing on the dotted line. And it may be life insurance, it may be mortgage insurance, it may be some captive company that made up their own rules and it's a completely different contract. So read the contract before you sign. Number 4, tips on getting life insurance here in Canada. Don't buy into the invest in life insurance. Here's my opinion on that. And by the way, I made a lengthy video comparing apples to apples, the invest in life insurance strategy versus just a traditional RRSP where you would contribute to that, and what you would do at retirement with these 2 different strategies. And I mean, watch the video. I mean, if you're interested in it, just put a comment below asking for it and I'll send it to you. However, here's the thing. That strategy has many different moving components that if something goes wrong, it can all fall apart. And there's many of them. There's a lot of strings attached. An RRSP is incredibly simple. You put money in it, you invest it. That money grows on a tax deferred basis. Then you take it out at the end and you pay tax on whatever it is when you take it out at that current time. It's incredibly simple. Nothing can go wrong with it except for, of course, investments might go up and down, but the actual tax strategy behind an RRSP is rock solid. It's government mandated. They put it in place. They back this program. There's not many moving components and strings attached to this. So with all that being said, if you're the majority of Canadians that don't have their RSP max, that don't have their TFSA max, that still have high interest credit card debt or other debt, then I would say investing in life insurance is a bad idea. If you're part of the minority of Canadians that have their registered accounts max, that don't have high interest credit card debt, and they're looking at an alternative investment, then yeah, absolutely, it could be a really good idea. However, I think for the vast majority of Canadians, it's not a good idea. And until you get to that point, you should not look at it. I hope that answered a lot of your questions about the advantages and disadvantages of life insurance. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And if you guys are enjoying this content, all I ask is that you give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.